So, a lot has happened in this past week for Fortnite, and I need to talk about it and just give my general thoughts on what the new season looks like, what they could add, and just an overall analysis on what has taken place so far. And at the end of this video, I will rate this upcoming season somewhere through 1 and 10 judging by the current information and content we know and have. So first off, the Fortnite D23 panel was taking place on August 10th, and once the panel actually got started after having to wait forever, I will never be able to watch that Marvel trailer again. We received 3 different collab announcements, that being collabs for Disney's villains, which includes Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, and Maleficent. Then we got the announcement for Incredibles, which includes the additions of Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone. And finally, we got another Star Wars collab announcement. And we'd be receiving the new cosmetics, those of which being IG-11 and Moff Gideon. Nothing too special honestly though, but I'm excited to see how they experiment with intellectual properties in the future. And this obviously opens a ton of doors for collabs. But then, the part everyone for Fortnite D23 was truly waiting for, Kevin Feige to show us what Fortnite has been cooking for this upcoming season. And it was phenomenal. Superpowers, POIs, skins, loophole additions galore. We got so much info from this trailer alone, it's quite astonishing really. But let's get the least exciting thing out of the way first, that being the Battle Pass. Now don't get me wrong, I don't dislike this Battle Pass. In fact, I think it's easily the best of Chapter 5. The thing is that a Battle Pass has never had any significance or impact for me on whether or not a season is actually good. So that's why I address it in that manner. But with that out of the way, let's break it down. So first off, we received Gwenpool at tier 1. Then we get War Machine at tier 20, Pilverine at tier 40, Emma Frost at tier 60, Captain Jonesy at tier 68, Mysterio at tier 80, Shuri at tier 100, and Doctor Doom as the secret skin, which will be available to unlock sometime in September. Now, I was not expecting Doom to be the secret skin, seeing as how he's the main advertisement for the season, but I'm still happy about it. And having Gwenpool as tier 1 is definitely an automatic purchase for the Battle Pass, to me anyways. But now, let's break down this season's POIs. Now, we only have one trailer to base this season's POIs off of as of now, which will be playing in the background. But the first thing that I immediately noticed in this trailer is that this season looks like it has the same vibe as Chapter 4 graphics, or something of that caliber, with a combination of the Chapter 2 style, which I think having the combination of both these styles is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind this style for Chapter 5, but the best Chapter's aesthetic for me easily goes to Chapter 4, and getting that back is a plus in my book. Next thing I notice is the Castle Doom POI, which looks absolutely insane and will definitely bring a much needed change of scenery on that side of the map. And it appears like Castle Doom will replace Glassy Quartz. Next is the Raft. Now this POI looks intriguing. Unfortunately we don't have nearly as much info on this POI, but it still looks absolutely sick. And the Raft will be replacing Pleasant Piazza. And finally, the last official POI to our knowledge is Doomstat, which is a town-like area that we actually got a decent amount of footage for in the trailer. And looks really sick. But this POI will be replacing Lavish Lair. And as far as we know, there are no more confirmed POIs. But here's some smaller things I thought I'd touch up on here. So first, here's a very odd Stark Industries drop pod looking thing that people are suspecting you can interact with and will drop a superpower, kinda like the Queen Jets did in Chapter 2 Season 4. And in the next image here, we can see a statue memorial type mini location here, and this statue is supposedly a statue of Doctor Doom's mother. And this little POI here is supposed to be somewhat supposedly by Rebel's Roost. And here we get an indoor look at Doom's castle, I'm guessing. And in this image we can clearly see that his throne is very familiar, and that it resembles a lot of The Thing, if you're a Marvel fan. But speaking of The Thing, we also got a teaser for the Fantastic Four right here, which looks like another mini POI. And finally, some people have pointed out the fact that this in the background resembles Galactus a lot. But me personally, I don't think that's him. I don't know, I just don't think it would make that much sense. But if he is in fact on the map, then that's an absolute win. I just don't know how probable it is that this is in fact him, or just his helmet. But now that the map changes out of the way, let's talk about the loot pool. And man does it look insane this season. First off, it might just be the cinematic, but it looks like we might be getting the Scar back in the game. And there are actually a lot of leaks pointing towards this. The next thing we're shown in the trailer is the Captain America shield. And it looks like it's had some major buffs and changes, like a ricocheting feature, and it just looks way stronger than its previous variant. Next thing we see is a Stark Industries rifle, but some people are talking about how it might be a Stark Industries shotgun. And honestly, if we get either of these, I'll be super happy, seeing as how the rifle is one of my favorite assault rifles ever. Now, the next thing we see in this is Shuri's Black Panther claws, but most people fail to notice that Wolverine has Wolverine claws in the back. Now, this could simply just be Wolverine using his pickaxes, or this could mean that we're seeing the Wolverine mythics again, which would be amazing. But anyways, we also see this new version of the Black Panther mythics in action, and it looks busted. You can now dash, scratch, and use the vibranium energy and explode your surroundings, just like you could with the original version, but except it looks actually useful. Next, we see Gwenpool using a new version of the Iron Man repulsors, where you can fly, and still use a new revamped Unibeam, and you can also ground pound by the looks of it. All of these abilities in one are absolutely crazy. Next thing we see is Mysterio having duplicates of himself, and Wolverine coming in with dual-wielding SMGs. Now, the community has been asking for these things forever, and now that we're getting them, let's just see how they're received. What's intriguing here is when all of the Mysterio clones are eliminated, one that was invisible becomes visible, most likely meaning that the actual Mysterio will be invisible while having his clones activated, and will only be visible once all of his clones are eliminated. And I'm just curious how on earth you control these things. But either way, it looks sick. And now we see War Machine with his Mythic, which has a turret that looks to fully lock onto targets and fires automatically, and gives him the ability to fly, while simultaneously being able to shoot missiles and shoot bullets from his wrists. All in all, this Mythic might be the craziest one out of them all. And finally, we see Doom himself, shooting a green mystical beam out of his hand that honestly kind of looks like the Goku Mythic. And that's all we saw of the loot pool in the trailer. But that's not it. We also have leaks as to what else could be in the loot pool. Now, this tweet is coming from Hypex, who is a very reliable source for leaks. But we're expecting to receive Captain America's shield, Wolverine's claws, possibly Gwenpool's blades, Shuri's Mythic, Iron Man's repulsors, the Stark Industries rifle, War Machine's jetpack and turret, the dual SMGs, a new sniper rifle of some kind, a new single-hand pistol, the suppressed scar and possibly the scar as well, and the heavy assault rifle. Now remember, take all this info with a grain of salt, but judging by how we saw a ton of these items in the trailer, and we're quite literally one day from the new season, I think it's safe to say that pretty much all this stuff is confirmed. But now that we've covered everything new that we're getting from the trailer, I want to talk about what else I want to see, and at the end I'll rate this season based off of what I've seen. The first thing I think would be cool to see is hit scan weapons. Now don't get me wrong, I like weapons with bullet drop. I think it takes more focus and strategy and even timing. I would just kinda like to see it make a return this season. But if we don't see it in this season, I'm happy, and if we do see it make its return this season, I'm also happy. Either way, man, I don't really care about this because everything else in the trailer looks so good. Moving on, I want this season to work how Chapter 2 Season 4 did, where more and more mythics release as the season progresses, while maybe simultaneously bringing back some classic mythics, and maybe halfway through the season on the Doctor Doom update, maybe drop Stark Industries back on the map, or the Avengers Tower, or the Fantastic Four base, or the X-Mansion. There are so many possibilities you could take for this, but I would love to see something like this. And finally, Epic, don't be afraid to make the mythics strong. In Chapter 2 Season 4, the mythics worked incredibly well, and were overpowered but yet somehow felt somewhat balanced. And the only reason I'm worried about Epic nerfing these new mythics into the ground is because of last season, where Epic faced significant backlash, and they nerfed cars into the ground, and made them more of a liability than they are a plus. These are supposed to be mythics, powerhouses in combat. They're not supposed to be weaker than your average SMG. These things need to stay relevant and strong in the player base, especially in a season where everything is superheroes. But after analyzing the season and seeing what it has to offer, I would rate this season a solid 9 or 9.5 out of 10. This genuinely looks like it could be one of the greatest Fortnite seasons of all time. But that essentially concludes all of my points and additions, and make sure to let me know down in the comments below what you would do, or add to this upcoming season, and what you would like to see. But now, let's get into our shoutouts. Now, if this is your first time ever watching one of my videos, here's the breakdown. At the end of all my long form videos, I shout out a creator who I believe is severely underrated or unappreciated, and I feel like deserves more notoriety from the algorithm or just the community in general. And today's creator is none other than Etcetras. Sorry if I'm butchering the name, but Etcetras makes very funny and entertaining Fortnite review videos, where he talks about his predictions, his opinions, and what has happened as of late in Fortnite. He also has a fresh YouTube channel with fresh ideas and concepts, so please check this guy out. He is one of the best YouTubers coming into the game, and it would be great if you could go over and drop this man a sub. But that'll do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a lovely night.